Hello. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Manfred. I am platform evangelist at Samsung, and I'm Austrian, or as my German friends would say, Schluchtenscheißer. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the presentation. In the previous presentations today, my colleagues were talking about particular SDKs which, for developers, open up possibilities to access particular functionalities, particular services, or particular features of devices. Now, in my presentation, I would like to go one step further. I would like to depict a vision. This is the vision of Samsung. This is our idea of how we can bring all these different functionalities, features, and services together into one consistent ecosystem. And as you will see throughout my presentation, this vision, to some degree, is already reality. Okay, so for today, I prepared 4 topics. First, I will start with talking a little bit about the current device diversity. So these are those devices which Samsung supports and which it opens up through APIs to developers. I would also like to do, in the first part of my talk, a short little use case or a user story which should show the benefits and the whole idea about this convergence topic. Next, in part 2 and 3, I would like to go a bit more into details regarding 2 particular device types. The first one will be about the Galaxy camera, which we unpacked yesterday and which you already heard a lot about so far. And then in the third part, I will talk more about our Samsung smart TVs. And for both these parts, I will also go into more details what that means for developers and which opportunities arise for developers. Okay, and then eventually, in my fourth part, I will talk a little bit about some services which Samsung envisage in order to allow for this convergence. Okay, device diversity. As you all know, probably one of our most successful type of devices are our smartphones. So Samsung is globally smartphone vendor #1 at the moment. And our flagship device is the Galaxy S3, which is, as you also know, I guess, pretty hot currently on the market. Now, smartphones allowed us or opened up completely new possibilities for users. You can use apps, you can use services, you can use the internet and everything while you're on the go. So that's the first product type. Second, smart cameras. So with digital cameras or smart cameras, using the notion of Samsung, we are now able to take high-quality pictures. We can actually, on the device, we can interact with these pictures or with that content. We can modify it, we can save it, of course, and we can also share it with friends and family. And then finally, the third product category are TVs or smart TVs. And with these products today, we're actually also able to download content, to use apps on a TV, to use services on a TV, and all that on a brilliant large screen. So because all these various products or product categories came from different units, and they all had different histories, they're all sort of starting with their own ecosystem. But now, as I said, Samsung's vision is to bring all these different devices, all these smart devices together into one consistent ecosystem. And by this, what we want to achieve is to substantially increase the usage experience for customers. So Samsung has already started this process and is currently developing or is also providing an ecosystem that spans different types of devices and that spans different platforms. Now I would like to show you a little user story or a use case which should sort of showcase the whole idea of convergence and the benefit of it. So let us assume I traveled to Berlin for this presentation, and yesterday I did a little bit of sightseeing. I took my new Galaxy camera and took a picture of the Brandenburger Tor. I can directly on my device, directly on the Galaxy camera in that case, I can interact with that content, with that picture. I can change it and modify it, and I can edit this picture. Next, I would like to share this photo with my, well, imaginary wife, let's say, who is back in London. And I'll send this to her smartphone or whatever mobile device. Can be a tab or also a note. On that device, she can then interact with that content. So she can, for instance, search the history about the Brandenburger Tor and also add more information. So she can actually annotate this picture, enrich the content, and provide even more content to this image. Next, she would like to share this content or project this content onto a larger screen. In that case, let's say a smart TV. And to do this, she could use a service which Keith just talked about a couple of minutes earlier, which is the Samsung All-Share service. So she can use that in order to show this content on a larger screen. And then again, with my imaginary son, she can then sit in our living room, in our imaginary living room, in front of our TV and consume this content. They can further interact with that content, so they can further enrich it, add more comments, or even questions, and then can send, so they can add these comments and can then send it back to me. And I can directly, again, consume this content on my Galaxy camera. So what I would like to show with this little user story is that we can use this one single content over different types of devices and over different platforms. And by this, we can, or I can, share my experience with my friends or families, although we are not communicating face-to-face and although we are not at the same location. So we can actually enrich our communication by this. And this is the idea of convergence. This is what we want to achieve. This is one of the use cases we want to achieve with convergence. Okay. So I think, as I say, this is a nice little use case which should demonstrate convergence and what we can do with it. Now I would like to switch to my second part, where I would like to go a bit more into details regarding one particular type of products, which are our cameras, or in particular, the Galaxy camera. So yesterday we unpacked the camera, and I hope you already had the chance to play around with it a bit. If not, I'm pretty sure we have it outside there, and you can have a look, you can play with it. It really is a pretty neat new gadget. And just to highlight maybe two things at this stage, it runs the newest Android operating system 4.1, or also known as Jelly Bean, and it is powered by a 1.4 gigahertz quad-core CPU. So what we did with that product, we combined the best features of two worlds into one product. So we took, on the one hand, the best features from our, at the moment, probably most successful smartphone, the Galaxy S3. And on the other hand, we took the features from Samsung's smart camera technology and combined it together into our Galaxy camera. So just in a nutshell, a couple of features of this gadget. It provides a 23mm wide-angle lens, 21 times optical zoom. It has a larger CMOS sensor as compared to smartphones. You can enjoy and interact with your pictures directly on the device using a 4.8-inch high-definition display. And as already mentioned earlier, it's powered by a 1.4 gigahertz quad-core CPU. The interface to this device is entirely a full touch screen. So all the features you would like to use as a user, you can interact with by using a full touch screen. And the interesting bit, which I will come back to in a minute, is that all these features, or a lot of these features the camera provides, will also be accessible through APIs. So now this is really interesting for developers because you can actually and seriously develop an application for this device which makes use of camera functionality. The camera also comes with a couple of predefined effects. So as a user, you can apply these effects to your pictures in a very simple way, and that makes your pictures look great and actually quite professional. And again, there will be APIs in order to make use of such features within an application. The Galaxy camera runs a Jelly Bean operating system, so Android operating system. The motivation behind that is actually twofold. Number one is, as I said earlier, we want to bring our ecosystem together. But second, Android is one of the most popular operating systems, as you know. A lot of people use it already. So by this, what we manage is the entry barrier in using this device and using the Galaxy camera is really low, and the learning curve is very flat, or in fact non-existing. So people who know how to use Android basically know how to use this camera as well. And then furthermore, apps that are specialized for camera, such as multimedia applications, are perfect for the Galaxy camera. So as I said a couple of times, you can directly interact with your content on the camera, and developers can build applications to allow that and to foster this interaction with the camera. Okay, at this point, I would like to invite one of our partners on stage to do a demo. It's Mr. Kim, who is a CEO from a company called Jellybus, and they developed an application called PixPlay. And Mr. Kim would now go on stage and give us a little demo about his application. So please join me in welcoming you, Mr. Kim.
Hi everyone. PixPlay is a full-feature photo editor. I'm so happy to be here for introducing this collaboration between Galaxy Camera and Jellybus PixPlay. PixPlay gives you 200 photo effects and all editing features to make your photos even more awesome. And now 2 million Android users download the PixPlay through the Android market or the local markets. And PixPlay is easy to use and much powerful on smart devices, especially like Galaxy Camera. And now, for this great collaboration, we focused on 2 factors. First, we improved the comparability of PixPlay between Galaxy Camera and Android OS Jelly Bean. And now we support the high-resolution image processing for satisfaction of photographers. Now let me show you how PixPlay works on Galaxy Camera. Okay, for convenience, I'll load the photo. Okay, you can see 3 image size options on the screen, from small size to original size. We support the original size taken by Galaxy Camera. And I'll select the normal size option because this photo will be posted to Facebook after editing. Now, most people don't know what they could do first in the editing application, but PixPlay is different. Even if you're a beginner, you can follow the steps, like tapping the bottom buttons in sequence, right this way. And let's figure out the FX Studio that helps apply photo effects easily. HDR for landscape, beautiful women, and also digital camera options like scene mode, and also vintage style like Instagram. Let's see vintage style. You can check out the thumbnails right this way. Also, you can swipe to change the photo effect you like. Also, you can control the strength right this way in real time. Apply this. And after adding an effect, you can add more effects to your photo over and over. That's great advantage for you. I'll add more effects. Also, you can control this way, like this way. If you don't like the result of your photo, you can cancel the process by undo button, right this way. Also, you can restore the process by redo button. And actually, Pixplay has many great features. The curves, histogram, and controlling the details. Let's see if cover effect. You can control the light this way, and you can see changes in real time. Also, we support the like these special features. Apply this. And also, Pixplay has many add-ons. Stamps, texture, vignetting. Stamps gives you a lot of funny effects. Like this way. Vignetting. Vignetting makes your photo more Romo style. You can control the thumbnails. Also, you can control the strength. Apply. Finally, I will use borders. You can control the roundness and also thickness right this way. There are a lot of variety of border effects this way. I like Romo style. I finish my work, I will upload to Facebook. Okay, you can find out another apps, Instagram and Facebook. Okay. Okay, thank you for your attention. It's Pixplay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kim. Good stuff. I think you would agree this is pretty interesting, and it will definitely open up a lot of new possibilities and opportunities for developers using our APIs to build camera applications. I would like to give you a couple of more examples which will be accessible through APIs. So let me first start with So let me first start with an example which shows the API access to object tracking zoom. So if you would like to take a picture of something which is fast moving, like this girl in that example, then you can actually lock down the zoom to this object. And this is a functionality which will be supported by the API as well. Yeah, okay. Another example is zooming shot. So this again is a feature where you don't have to manually zoom and then take the picture. This is done automatically by the camera. And again, this is a functionality which will be accessible through APIs. And finally, the last example which I would like to show you is called slow sync. Slow sync basically controls the shutter speed. And by using this, you can achieve effects like this one shown in this video. Of course, that's a little bit of a cheesy video, but you get the idea, right? So this is what you can achieve by using this API. Okay, moving on. So we were talking about cameras so far. Now I would like to switch to smart TVs, smart TV technology, and what that can offer to developers. So this is the user interface of a smart TV, which is also called Smart Hub. If you are a smart TV user, or if you have a smart TV at home, this might seem familiar to you. I would only like to highlight a couple of the sections on this user interface. So in the bottom area, you can see all your downloaded apps. On the left-hand side in the middle, you have access to Samsung apps where you can download applications. Top left area is a picture-in-picture element. And at the top in the middle, there are recommended applications. So we can also actually promote and recommend particular applications. And then on top of that, you have also a search bar. Now, what is interesting is more technical architecture of the Samsung TV platform. What you can see here in this figure is that this technical architecture is basically grouped into two parts. The top part is more the user interface part, and the bottom part, highlighted in dark blue, are the native modules. In the top area, we have components like the apps framework, which is used by developers to have the apps run in. There is an element which is a smart hub, which I showed earlier, which is the user interface. And on top of that, we also provide in-app purchase and in-app ads, where you can integrate advertisements into your applications and then actually generate revenues. Now, in the bottom area, which I said is are the native modules of the TV architecture. And maybe just to highlight a few of them, top left is AllShare, which we mentioned already a couple of times today. There is also a convergence framework, which allows you to write applications which allow you to let your TV app with your mobile app interact with each other. Then there is a module which supports the app engine and the browser, a Flash module, and an MPEG module. But let me go into details regarding a couple of these elements or these modules. Those modules which you can see here on that screen are actually supported and provide a web-based API. So as a developer, you can have access to these functions using web-based API. So just to highlight the most interesting ones, top left is Smart Interaction. So as a developer, using the Smart Interaction module, you can now actually access things like voice recognition or voice control, gesture and motion recognition, and you get access to the camera, where you can use things like face recognition. The other interesting thing here is the convergence framework. As I said earlier, this would allow you an interaction between apps on your smartphone and apps on your TV. AllShare, we talked about that a couple of times, can be used to share your content on a TV, or also control your content using a TV. And then finally, bottom right, in-app advertisement. As I said, you can also integrate advertisements into your applications, and by this, increase your revenue. Okay. If you download our development tools for the TVs, well, first of all, that's all for free. You can all download and get that for free. But what's interesting is this bundle which you download also contains a so-called Smart TV emulator. Now, of course, it's always best to deploy and test your application on a real device. Now, I appreciate not everyone has always a smart TV from Samsung available. So what you can do is you can use this emulator to run your application on a simulated environment and see how your application behaves. And the nice thing about this emulator is it provides you emulated input and output. So for instance, in the right-hand area, there is a remote control, so you can simulate input from a remote control. And in the left-hand area, you can also simulate voice input, and by this make use of the voice control, and also you can simulate gestures. Okay, I mentioned the Smart Interaction module a bit earlier, and what that comprises roughly are three different types how a user can interact with the TV. The first one is by voice, second is by motion or gestures, and the third one is by using the camera or by using actually face recognition. Now, on the next couple of slides, I have some examples which should make that a bit clearer. So here you can see on the left-hand side, you can actually use your voice to switch on and switch off your TV. On the right, you can use the voice to switch channels up and down or to increase and decrease the volume. Two examples for gesture recognition. You can also use gestures to switch channels up and down, and you can use gestures to increase and decrease the volume again. And then finally, and what I think is really pretty cool, is you can also use gestures to navigate the web using Smart TV technology. Two more examples. You can also use voice to interact with the Smart Hub, which is the user interface. And finally, and again, I think this is pretty neat and handy, you can use face recognition to log in to all different sorts of services, like Facebook, for instance. Okay, another module which I mentioned is the convergence framework. As I said, by using the convergence framework, you can let your mobile apps or your mobile devices communicate with your TV. This is done by using REST APIs. You can do things like file upload and download, multicast, or broadcasts. And you can have several devices communicating with your TV at the same time. And you can group these devices into different groups and then maintain and configure these groups as well. Okay. If you're interested in that, if you would like to develop an app for TV and if you would like to publish an app for TV, you would basically follow 4 steps. The first one is you would get in touch with Samsung and you would become a partner of Samsung. Next, you would go to our developer website, which is the samsungdforum.com. From there, you can download all the tools. As I said, it's all for free, so you get all the tools, all the testing tools, also the emulator, and they can just start the way developing. Once you've done all your developing and testing, you would then submit your application to Samsung Apps for the quality assurance process. Once you have passed this, you're basically ready to launch your app. So your app would then be available on Samsung Apps, and you can then start to promote and distribute your applications. So this is an overview of our main Samsung developer site for TVs. It's called the Samsung D Forum. You can find it at www.samsungdforum.com. And from there, you can have access to a forum where you can discuss issues or problems with peers. You can download all the tools, as I said. You can get access to development guides. You're informed about events, and you can also manage your applications on that website. All right, okay. We thought it would be nice to also integrate a little demo at this point, and my colleague Bob over there will give you a little live demo showing Angry Bird on TVs. And what we intend with this demo is really 2 things. The first one is we're proud to have Angry Bird on TVs, so we want to show you that. And second, we want to show you how you can actually use gesture recognition to interact with the TV, and in that case with Angry Bird. Okay, Bob, please go for it. And please do it properly. Don't embarrass us, Bob. So he enters the 2nd level, I think. And by just using his hand, just using gestures, he can control the interaction with the TV, and in that case, sling the birds over. Okay, well done. I think that deserves a round of applause. Okay, good job. Thank you very much, Bob. Okay, can we have the slides back? Thank you. So as you can see, you can now use gesture control in that case and use that to control and interact with applications on a smart TV. Now, I mentioned Samsung Apps on TV as well. It's at the moment, it's #1 app store for TVs. We are present globally, so we are present in 156 countries. So I actually have to correct our leader, Ms. Ho-Kyung Kim, who said earlier we are 124. So now you can see how quickly that goes. We are already available in 156 countries. We have over 2,100 apps on TVs. There's a coverage of 20 million devices globally. And up until now, we have achieved a total downloads of 30 million. Okay, so that was my part about TVs. Now I would like to go to my final part, which is about the idea of convergence. So as you can see, the Samsung platforms and devices are converging together. And really, currently, at the epicenter of that sits our Samsung Apps marketplace, which is our marketplace for apps which spans different platforms and different device types. If you are a Samsung consumer or a Samsung developer, I'm sure you are aware of our various hubs. So we have these media hubs, music hubs, reader hubs, and so on and so forth. And the future vision of Samsung is to provide all these hubs on all different sorts of devices and platforms. And what we want to achieve with that is a unique and consistent user experience across all these platforms to really realize that vision of a consistent, converging ecosystem. So to summarize, our key takeaway message from this talk is that Samsung is building this ecosystem that spans different types of devices and different platforms. From a developer's perspective, you get a lot of benefits out of that and a lot of opportunities. And just to briefly wrap that up, I would like to mention only 4 of these benefits or services. So number 1 is, through working with Samsung, you get access to all different sorts of technical resources. So you can download all our various tools, IDEs, SDKs, testing tools, emulators, access to the remote testing lab. That's all for free. You get access to all sorts of technical content, training videos, blog posts, white papers, sample code, and you're informed about developer events just like this. Next is technical support. So we have our various developer sites, which you can all use for free, and we also have a dedicated premium support service. Number 3 is our app market, Samsung Apps. As I said, Samsung Apps is at the epicenter of our idea of convergence, and it spans multiple devices and multiple platforms. And finally, revenue models. Samsung supports a couple of revenue models, such as direct app sales, generating revenues through ads, through our ad hub service, and in-app purchase. Okay, and with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for attending, and enjoy the rest of IFA. Thank you.